Hey, welcome back to this bonus episode of the infamous podcast, the review of A Quiet Place Part 2. Shh. 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 We're going to talk very softly for this episode so the monsters don't
ASMR all the
way. Anyway, welcome. I can't wait for the pitch meeting of A Quiet Place 2. I'm not gonna lie.
Man.
I've been obsessed with the pitch meeting for the last week. So, yes, I've been super easy, hardly an inconvenience, constantly, to the point where Angel and Haley are like, just stop. It's annoying us now. I'm like, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, again, like as I channel goes, that's the only. I really wish he would break out and do.
His own. I mean, he has his own channel. I refuse to subscribe to Screen Rant. So
he has his own channel, and he does some other funny bits about like the first man who ever got punched in the face, or
the first man who went to prison. That was my favorite. Anyway. But hey, we're here to talk about A Quiet Place, not Ryan George. So, although we should totally like steal that and do the pitch meeting for this review and put it up before him. And no one will watch ours, but everyone will watch his. And then they'll be like, what? Copyright strike, infamous podcast. All right. Just getting to it. So, yeah. A Quiet Place Part 2, the 2021 release, directed by John Krasinski, starring the beautiful Emily Blunt, even in her pink mom pants, Cillian Murphy, Millicent Simmons, Noah Jupe, Diamond Hutsu, John Krasinski, Scoot McNeary, and then Dean Woodward, who played Bo. Funny bit of trivia there. Dean's older brother, Cade, played Bo in the first movie.
Okay.
So, if you were wondering why he didn't age, that would be why. Quick spoiler warning before we really get going. We're not gonna. I don't. There's really no way to talk about this without spoiling it.
Yeah, and again, it's not. This is a 90-minute movie. There's not a lot of stuff going on. There are specific, segments, but it's not like you're going to be like an Avengers movie with a lot of stuff going on. This is really straightforward, which in a good way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say straightforward, it's bad. This is straightforward in a good way. There are competing stories. There you have the A and B storylines that we'll talk about, but yeah, it'll be kind of difficult to talk about this, especially for 20 minutes. If we're doing like a 7-minute review, it's easy. But yeah, we're doing 25 minutes, so we're gonna have to talk spoilers.
Yeah, so let's just start with what we liked about the movie. So I like that it was okay. For reference, I just got back from seeing it, so we're recording this on Monday, June 7th, 9:51 p.m. So I went to the 6:40 showing. Darryl saw it over the weekend, so he's had much more time to think about it. This is my just literally initial review. We talked on the way home, on my way home, but yeah. So what did you like about the movie, having had a couple days to think about it?
So I liked all the actors in here. I liked the performances. I thought Cillian Murphy was very powerful. Noah Jupe and Millicent Simmons were probably the biggest improvements from their original take from their original performance in the first one.
Right.
I love the tension. It wasn't I told you this on your way home. It wasn't quite as strong / unique as the first one, but it was still great. Emily Blunt, like you said, is even more badass,
Dude,
even
she
though
was
she had
awesome.
just given birth a few days before,
right?
Because again, this takes place
immediately after
the first one.
I mean, and she's still got that nail hole in her foot.
Yeah, and the nail was still there, by the way. And I also liked the way it opened up the world, in the sense of it was a lot less self-contained, and it does affect something negatively for me. But when I say negative, it's kind of like a nitpick, and I'll
Sure.
get into later.
Yeah.
But overall, I love that idea of seeing these different, how different people are handling this, well,
Crisis.
invasion, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really liked how self-contained it was until it didn't need to be self-contained.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like when the world opened up, like the alien's face, like, that was when it needed to open up like the alien's face, and I was good. I love the performances in this. Poor Marcus Abbott, played by Noah Jupe. He was not in A Quiet Place 2. He was in Saw 9. Like literally he was just, it was torture porn for him. This whole movie. But I thought he handled it well. I liked Millicent Simmons the first time out. I really liked her this time. It's just really interesting because I felt like the majority of her character set up in the first one paid off in this one.
Yes.
Not enough Diamond Hutsu, or Hansu, but I'm always gonna think that because I love that guy. And yeah, Cillian Murphy killed it, and obviously Emily Blunt, but I already said that. The other thing that like I really really liked was how dirty everything is in this world, right? Until they get to the island, and then it's just like normal life. And then the last thing I really liked was the creatures. We saw a ton more of them. We got to see kind of how powerful they are, how fast they are, how scary they are, how smart they are in a lot of ways, considering they're blind and only have like maybe like some sort of sonar or like, just auditory, recognition and things like that. So I thought that was really cool. And then I loved day one.
Yes. I thought that was because I'm a fan. I've talked about this the last couple times as far as that, whole media race where they use it. And again,
2
it's
hours
used a little bit too much.
Yeah. 2 hours later.
Yeah. Like TV shows use it a little too much.
Right.
I love the way they used it here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I noticed is it starts off with total silence. You just see the street. There's nothing there until John Krasinski Lee comes up in his
loud ass truck. Loud ass truck.
Yeah,
that was the best part. Because it's like, because you don't know, right? You don't know it's starting on day one. You hear the truck pull up, and then it does the day one card.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a second, why is this loud truck pulling up in, when it's a quiet place? But yeah, no, it was great. You had a little foreshadowing of the space shuttle that killed Bo. You had, just kind of seeing everything that was going on, the whole baseball game, the town, and then you see the ship just burning through the atmosphere and through the clouds. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, and I also like how we get well, we already knew that they weren't indestructible, but they have one major weakness, and almost channeled by M. Night Shyamalan signs with these aliens, which I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, but their weakness is not 2/3 of the planet.
Yeah,
like if you know your weakness is water, you know where you don't go. To a planet that's 2/3 water and the inhabitants are 70% water. You just don't do it.
Oh man,
you just don't.
Yeah.
Like, you're asking to get killed. Here, their big weakness is literally a frequency that they stumbled upon by accident.
Yeah. Well,
through research. Let me rephrase that. They stumbled upon through research of what to do with these particular creatures.
Well, the other weakness I was going to say, I was referencing is that the fact they can't swim.
Oh, yeah. But,
you think about it, they're basically walking tanks.
Yeah, right.
So
there's
it
people
makes sense
on the planet Earth who can't swim.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting, a little addition to, and it adds something else to it. It adds like, okay, so all these people on islands all over the world, are they safe? Or
Well, I mean,
because
as
again,
long
what we
as
don't,
alien craft or whatever didn't
yeah,
crash on their island, I think they're
and
okay.
that's what I was going to say. We just get that all this stuff broke up, but we don't know a lot. There's a lot we don't know, which I like.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it opens up worlds to what comes next.
So the last thing that I liked is the fact that there's going to be a third movie.
Yes.
I mean, there has to be. And you said there already is. It's 2023, right? So
Yeah, so I just real quick, and I just picked this up. The Quiet Place 3 there's no official announcement, but oh no, this is an older article. I had read something just recently where it said that it's going to be, the release date was chosen,
okay.
but you know, just I don't remember the guy's name, the director that was attached to it.
Okay.
I'll have to get that later.
Actually going through like the production and development and casting, I have another new thing that's one of my on my favorites list. Brian Tyree Henry was supposed to play Man on the Island and had to leave due to scheduling conflicts, and they brought in Jaimin Hansu.
A much better. It's a much.
Not that I don't love
vastly,
Brian Tyree Henry in Atlanta, but like he's been playing some weird characters lately, and I'm
Yeah,
okay not having him in this.
I honestly don't think it would have been as effective with him.
Nope. All right.
So here it is right here. A Quiet Place spinoff from director Jeff Nichols. He's writing and directing the spinoff, and according to Forbes, it will be released on March 31st, 2023. Okay. No story details, but it will take place in the same universe, obviously. So that's very little information, just a release date and director who's also writing it.
Yeah. So, all right. Cool. So things that there's nothing that I didn't like, but I definitely had a bunch of nitpicks. My biggest nitpick was the fact that there was a score throughout the entire movie, whereas the first one was just ambient noise, which was really cool and added to the tension that it built. And there were the only time that we got like no noise is when we were at Reagan's point of view.
And I still love that, how they do that with her.
Yeah, that was great. But at the same time, like those were the most like stressful scenes to watch.
Yes. What else did you not like?
I did not like the character choice that Emmett made when he went to help the little girl after, 30 minutes ago in the movie, he warned them about how people were and you couldn't trust them and you didn't want to see what they had turned into. Now, keep in mind, this is only 474 days later.
Mm-hmm.
So in a year and a half, humanity has gone completely feral for the most part, it seems. And their faces are burned and scarred and like mutated. Like, okay. That was a bit of a nitpick.
Yeah.
And then I had that other nitpick that I told you when I was driving home, but thinking about it, it really doesn't matter one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, the big thing for me was the, kind of the sound design that they had in the first one that was great. And then this one, like I told you, the score should have kicked in when they got to the island, when that world opened up. I felt like it would have been much more powerful, and it would have made the song Beyond the Sea playing on the radio much more powerful.
Yes.
And your nitpicks.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah. And it's you phrased it perfectly. These are nitpicks. Like the one thing is there were several moments that were absolutely predictable in what was going to happen to a character. It was almost badly, like the one on the island when one of the characters is taken by the creature. It was so obvious that it was going to happen. That was just kind of poor setup. Other than that, the score, once you mentioned it, and that was one of the things you said, and I couldn't put my finger on what was bothering me about parts of the movie. Not in a way that made me dislike it or took away from my enjoyment, but there was something that was off key, and it was the score. They should have been there should have been 2 moments of music in here, or well, no, I would say 3. When they first hear Beyond the Sea, anytime they heard that song, when they finally got to the island, and everybody it looks like a 4th of July picnic, and then at the end when you have the parallel stories or the parallel that parallel scenes with Reagan and Marcus. Those are the 3 moments that I think, and then everything else, especially everything before Beyond the Sea, ambient noise.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and this is a funny one, is that I love the creature design. I love getting more of them. I mean, I love watching them move and just the savagery of them. But in that regard, I need a little bit more blood. And I don't mean invincible blood, but the way it was hitting people and striking people, there should have been a little bit more gore.
Are you talking
done,
like
maybe?
when A-Train ran through Robin in The Boys? Kind of. I mean, because essentially they were just running through people. But I think what they showed, and it was one of the things I kind of paid attention to, is like they were doing nice form tackles. Like they got that head like down, like they were still like, it was just a nice, like, it was almost like a block. They like run into things and pushed away, and then they kind of swipe wildly. So like I don't think they're connecting like you think they're connecting. That would show the blood.
Well,
but at the same time, when it gets her leg, when they're in the little cubby, like there's no blood. So I see your point.
Yeah. And I don't mean, you need to see, you need to go all gratuitous on us, but just a little bit more of that, just to show the impact. Because there were a few scenes where people were getting hit and it looked fake, which obviously is, but it for a split second it took me out, and because and again, I'm a weird sense of humor. I wasn't laughing because it looked funny. I was laughing because it just didn't look quite right.
Right.
So that's, and honestly, those are my biggest, and again, they're nitpicks more than anything else.
Yeah.
One of the things I mentioned to you and this is the last one, is that it felt, the first one was a more self-contained story. And this one did a great thing by introducing us to a larger world. However, it felt doing that, it felt a little bit more incomplete for me. And when I say incomplete, it was still I still enjoyed it very much, but it was incomplete in a way where I want more, and I thought we could have gotten just a little bit more from this.
Okay.
And again, though, that's pretty much it, or all I had for this.
So my fear with that is 97 minutes was the perfect runtime for this movie. Like if they would have given you more, it would have probably gone over the 2-hour mark, and that would have been 23 minutes too long.
I don't know. I just wanted more.
We will agree to disagree.
That means I'm right.
No.
Right, Grogu?
No. Anyway, right, Grogu.
Grogu, Grogu's shaking his bobblehead right now.
Okay, because you're shaking it. I get it. Okay, so this movie was supposed to come out March 18th of 2020. It was obviously delayed to the Modelo virus. It got delayed from March 18th to March 19th to March 18th to May 15th to September 4th to 2021. And so, Krasinski was adamant about the movie being shown to people in the theater. Here's my thought on this, is when they kind of tried to open the movies back up with Tenet, this would have been a much better movie to show because people would have gone out to see this. Because, I mean, this movie's already made $136 million out of
Wow.
138.6 on a $61 million budget. And it's been out for a week, this is the second weekend for it. So, I mean, it's doing really well. It did more the first weekend than the original did in the first weekend, and it was on like way more
That's
screens,
impressive.
right? It is. It's super impressive.
Yeah.
So I think if they would have said, you know what, we're going to put The Quiet Place out at the end of August to see if people are ready to go to theaters at like even half capacity, we would have gotten more new films throughout the year. Because it's just like I said when we reviewed Tenet last year. Nobody in their right mind could possibly have thought Tenet was going to be $1 billion movie, even in optimal circumstances.
On its best day.
In optimal
on its best day, it wasn't.
Yes. No. Christopher Nolan, while most people think he's great, is a without Batman is a niche director, right?
Yeah.
He's got his niche
yes.
of highbrow, snooty moviegoers who want to talk about his use of time and space and blah. Anyway, with their pinkies raised while they're drinking their Slurpees.
What's wrong with pinkies raised?
I mean, nothing. I mean, I raised my pinky when I was drinking my Red Bull, so, you know, what can I say? But no. All right, so, I mean, really, at the end, the movie is, I mean, it's pretty simple. The summary is 2 sentences. Following the deadly events at home, the Abbott family must now face the terrors of the outside world as they continue their fight for survival in silence. Forced to venture into the unknown, they quickly realize that the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats that lurk beyond the sand path. I mean, that's a great summary. This movie did everything I needed and wanted it to do.
Yeah. And this, when going back a little bit to the theaters, I made the mistake. I didn't get to see the first one in theaters.
Oh.
It was one of those where I was like, oh, I'm going to see it. I'm going to go see it. And then it was out of theaters.
Okay.
So I was definitely not going to make that mistake this time. And it's absolutely a movie you should see in the theaters. I mean, some movies, there's a lot of movies you don't need to see in theaters. Let's be honest. This is one of those you need to see in theaters. You'll just get a better experience. Doesn't matter if there's 100 people in this theater, in the movies with you, one person, whatever. You know, it's better with more people, I think. But as you're getting that theater's feeling, that the sound, the ambiance of, you know, the sound and all that is just a better experience.
Well, like I saw the first one in the RPX theater, with the enhanced sound, and it wasn't like a super crowded theater, so there weren't like a bunch of bodies there to soak up the sound. This one I just saw it in the regular theater, but I was the only one in there, so it was I literally rented out the theater for $13. But yeah, so I highly recommend seeing this. So let's say out of 10, I don't know, I can't think of anything funny. Like it's like out of 10 bear traps to the foot. What do you rate?
I was gonna go say that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I give this a 7. I give this a 7.5. Very solid. This is one of those movies I will definitely watch again. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Yeah, so I am gonna go with a 7. But the degree of difficulty for this one was probably an 8. So,
Agree.
you know, I'm you know, it's rocking a solid like 85% there. But like I don't think the degree of difficulty for this movie is a 10, because it's, you know, I deducted a little bit because it's so self-contained, and then I deducted a little bit more just because it's a sequel and you don't know what you're going to get, and it had a built-in audience this time around. Whereas I think the first one, the degree of difficulty was 100% a 10, because
Yes.
you're trying to get people to literally sit through a silent film, with no like, fun piano music and subtitles. But no, I think the degree of difficulty for this one was an 8, and I think it definitely wins with a 7. It's a fun. It really is. Like, I'm not a horror movie guy. We've been through this over the last 6 years. But I do like suspense. I like thrillers. And this definitely scratches that itch as I'm scratching my arm. It scratches that itch and was really satisfying.
100%.
So, cool. All right. So that was just our quick review. Go see it. It's awesome. It's fun. If go on Krasinski's YouTube channel and, tell him you liked it if you saw it, or tweet at him. I don't know if he's on other social media or not. But yeah. All right. Like and subscribe, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, or go give us a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts, or head over to the website infospodcast.com, and you can get links to subscribe everywhere, or back us on Patreon, or go to Podchaser and leave a review. So, yep. Any last words, Darryl?
Nope. I just go see this movie.
Absolutely.
That's what I suggest.
100, as the kids say. And on that note, we will see you guys maybe later this week, definitely on Sunday for the new episode. Talk to you later. Bye.
See you.